everybody, welcome to the show. Hello everyone, welcome back to Raising A to Z, this YouTube channel all about homeschooling. My name is Amanda. I am a teacher-turned-homeschool mom. So today I am going to show you how I set up my month and how I do my monthly planning when it comes to my homeschooling. So I like to plan kind of in 1 month blocks. And it works well for me for a couple of reasons. Number one, it happens to be the length of how long we usually do a unit study. So I kind of plan out 1 month of unit studies. Works really well for us. The other thing that I like about doing kind of a month is I sit down, I do kind of 1 month's worth of planning, and then it takes me about an hour and then I'm done. I'm not constantly planning. Like when people do weekly planning, I find that gets to be a little bit much sometimes. Some people need it and that's fine, but I do find that for like me personally, it ends up being like too much planning because I am a planner and I do like to plan, but because I'm planning all kinds of things too, I find that like if I can do just my homeschool planning and figure out all of that kind of stuff once a month, it kind of gets me up and on top of what I need to do for the month, but I'm also like not constantly coming back to it. Obviously I know going through my month too that things are not always going to work out perfectly. Like there might be a day where like we're behind by a day or whatever. I kind of just roll with it at that point. But for the most part, we're pretty good at sticking fairly close to what we've done. I just find that 1 month works well for me. So this is how I do my 1 month plan. Before I sit down and do my planning, I like to go around and gather everything I'm gonna need to do my planning. So I've got my laptop, I've got some planning utensils, pens, colored pens, my favorite, Claire's, some Post-it notes. I like to gather all of my curriculum. So these are all of our curriculum workbooks, any unit study workbooks that we're doing, novels, and then of course I've got my planner, the Essential Homeschool Planner by me. This is a planner that I created because I couldn't find a great homeschool planner that worked well for not just making your lesson plans but planning your whole year. And so I created one. And so this is the Essential Homeschool Planner. It is available on Amazon. It is also available on our website and on Etsy. This planner is kind of like the foundation of where I'm planning from. So if you've been following me for a little while, you will know that a couple of weeks ago I did a whole video on how I plan out my whole year. And in that video, you'll see that how I picked my unit study topics, what we're deciding to do, why we do it, how I plan the whole year. If you want to see that video, I'll put a link for it up here. I've already planned out what our year is going to look like, the big ideas and stuff, and so I've already decided that our first unit is going to be Ancient Egypt. So I'm not really, when it comes to like my monthly planning, because I've already done kind of my annual planning, I'm not really sitting down and doing like this specific of like what are we studying this month. I've already got a plan, I've already got a lot of my resources. This is like the more the nitty-gritty of, okay, what lessons are we doing? What are we, how's it gonna look? And moving on from there. So I'm going to start with my monthly overview. So I always like to go through and put in like what we're celebrating. If we have any holidays, birthdays, which we usually do, I like to put that in what we're celebrating. I have my topic of the month. So this is where I actually like to put like a little Post-it note. And as I see things that I'm remembering that I need to pick up or anything, I always put it on the little Post-it note. Stuff like that to do if there's anything that I need to do for our homeschooling. Sometimes this is purchasing curriculum depending on the month. Sometimes it's waiting for a sale. Sometimes it's, you know, making sure to re-register for a program or register for something. I like to put that in my to-do. And then I have my goals and habits. Haven't decided what they are for the month yet, but usually my goal for September is just to kind of get back into the swing of things, especially with my husband going back to work as a teacher. So I don't usually do a lot of goals for September. The goal is just to like get back into our normal routine. So that's my goal. If we can have kind of a normal routine, that's the goal for the September. So the next thing I like to do is go through my month and write down what our social things are going to be. What are the things that are going to happen this month that we need to pay attention to? And so, for example, we already have a homeschool meetup day planned out. I have my Science North Day planned out. We have our choir, we have gymnastics. I'd also put in if we had like any birthdays that we know about. My birthday is right at the beginning of the month. But if we have any like parties that we need to go to, stuff like that, I'm gonna put those in here as soon as I find out about them. So I like to go through and put that in my calendar right away, just so that I know what we're doing. I don't want to not overschedule. So sometimes I find that it's very easy. It's very easy to overschedule kids, just in general, whether your kids are in public school or homeschooled. I think people just assume that because we're homeschooling that our kids have like tons and tons of free time. And they do. They have a lot more free time than public school kids, but it can become very easy to sign up for like a ton of things and literally just constantly be on the go, and A, not having any time to do your workbooks, and B, just being exhausted because you're every single day out the door trying to go do something. So by doing my monthly overview, it kind of gives me a chance to see like, okay, are we overscheduling? It also gives me a chance to see how many days I actually have for lessons. So for example, typically like on a Science North day when we go to the Science Center, it's not a day where I do workbooks because the day starts around 10 a.m. and we live like 45 minutes away. So we're already starting our day fairly early to get there. So that's not a day that I'm gonna like schedule workbooks in. So that's one less workbook day that we have that month, which is fine. There's no problem with that because it's a full day of learning. And I'm not saying that's in a bad way. I'm just saying when I'm like sitting here trying to figure out how many days we have to break up our unit study or how many days we have for like lessons. When I'm figuring all that out, it's nice to know how many days I have, right? Like literally how many days are going to be devoted to that. So that's the first thing I like to do. I like to put all my social and all of my activities into the planner right away. The second thing I like to do is I like to get to work on my unit study. So I'm actually gonna go back a little bit. So this is the unit study planner included in the actual planner. And so I have my topic is ancient Egypt, my main subject for this unit, because I always like to know what the main subject is. Because sometimes we have a subject and we can like, it's maybe more of a science-based subject, but we'll still do a lot of like history and like sociology and stuff that goes around it. But sometimes it just helps me focus on like what's the main subject, because I like to alternate my units kind of between like a social studies and a science. So I always put in what the main subject is. What's my big book? I always have a big novel or like a bigger novel that I read with the kids. So this month, because we're doing ancient Egypt, I have the Eye of Ra. This is kind of like a magic tree house book, but it's like one step up and it's a little bit more historically accurate in that sense. So this is the big book that we have. The big project, I haven't decided if we're gonna do a big project for this month. Like I said, we're just kind of getting back into things. So we have our big project. Then I have any like recipes or field trips. So recipes, we're gonna do air clay. So I will go through, and I actually have on my laptop here, and I have my recipe right here. And I'm gonna make sure that I have all the ingredients for the recipe, that I make sure that I have everything that I need to do the recipe before the month even starts, so that I have a couple of days to like gather things up. So the one thing that I need here, I think I have everything for this recipe. Cornstarch, glue, vinegar, lotion, here we go. Yep, so I have everything I need to do this recipe. Perfect. And so then I get to kind of move on. TV and film, still looking for some more Egypt movies. If you guys have any suggestions, that'd be great. Please leave a comment below. Definitely gonna do the Prince of Egypt. It's hard to find movies that are like age appropriate. There's lots of mummy movies out there. They're just not always age appropriate for like a 5-year-old. Some of them are just way too scary. So that's kind of my like difficulty right now, is finding movies that are Egypt but also age appropriate. I have that. We'll see what else we come up with when it comes to films and movies. And then we come down here to our activities and assignments. So depending on how I'm doing my unit study, if I have one printed, which I do, I have a whole, like I found one online for free, and it had a nice little unit study. It has all the activities and stuff. Perfect. I don't have to like make too much. I'm basically just adding to this. But if I don't, this is where I'm putting in kind of a few more lessons or like ideas for lessons. But since I already have that, I'm basically just adding a few kind of fun activities. I have make papyrus, I have mummify a Barbie, which is an activity I saw, and I think that'll be super fun. And to go with that, we're also gonna make a sarcophagus. So that is basically my like rough plan for my unit studies for the month. So if I need a hands-on activity, I have them here. If I need more of like a written lesson, I already have the printed off PDF. I've done that already. And so I'm ready to kind of like move on into the next step of my homeschool planning. This was our monthly plan. Moving over to the next page, we get into our weekly spreads. So in the past, I've done like socialization at the beginning. So whatever group event or thing that we were doing. And then I would do math, language, science, social studies, and music, going down the list. I decided to try something a little bit different this year. I gave Alexi a math and a language, Zoe a math and a language, a unit study, so that will be your science or social studies, and then an art and a music at the bottom. That's the nice thing about having this planner, is that you can customize it to fit whatever you need, whether you want to do subjects and have the kids go across. I used to use different colored pens for each kid. So like Alexi would be blue, Zoe would be green. And when it was math, I'd write whatever, pages 27, 28, 29. And then Zoe was like pages 14, 15, 16, whatever it was, right? Trying something a little bit different. We'll see how it works. If it doesn't work for me well this month, I can try something and go back and do something new for next month. So trying something new, let's see how it goes. Like I said, I have Alexi math, language, Zoe math and language, unit studies, arts and music. So this is where I'm time to pull out your curriculum. I have all my curriculum here. This is all of our like, and a unit study. This is all of the curriculum for all of our kids. And I'm just gonna start kind of going through and putting in what pages we're doing when we're doing them. Very simple. Usually for pacing, because I know some people get like, well, what do you do? Some books will have pacing for you. The Math for Living Education does have some pacing for us. It has recommendations on, if you're doing a 5-day schedule, it has like a recommendation to follow. You can do that. Also, it does have like per lesson, it has like day 1, this is what you do. Day 2, this is what you do. So you could follow that. Like it's totally possible. But because we only do like a 3 to 4 day work week, I don't. Basically my goal is just to finish a whole week within a week. So usually that means I have to double up and stuff, but it's not a big deal. I just enjoy it. I don't find it's overwhelming. That's why I also like Math for Living Education. If I write down to do 3 pages, usually it's not a ton of writing, which I kind of enjoy. It ends up being like a couple of 1, 2, 3. Like it's not overwhelming. It's not a ton of writing, whereas sometimes you see workbooks where it's just tons and tons and tons of like repetitive questions. But my goal, generally speaking, is at least 1 or 2 pages of language and at least 2 pages of math. I find usually that works really well for us, and it kind of keeps us at a good pace. So I'm going to start with math. So I'm going to start with Lexi. She's in grade 3. So here's the thing. I also like, so if I have things planned, I just add them on the top for this, what I'm going to do this year. So this is the holiday. And this is the first day, which means we are doing special things, but we're also going to do some of this. Because it's our first day of school, we have a whole like first day of school traditions and things that we do. I'll put a link to the video of some of the things that we do up here, but we still do our workbooks on the first day. I find like that's a really good way to start us off. So Monday we will not be doing anything because it's the first day. For Alexi's math, she's going to do pages 15. Like see, 15, 16 is just a story, 17, and then she's going to do page 18. So 15 to 18. It's not overwhelming. Then the next day she's going to do, I find usually it's easier just to do like this, 19, oops, 20 to 21. I might even actually do 22 because this is all review. I know she can do it fairly quickly. And then Thursday we do pages 23, 24, 25, 26. Okay, and then Friday we do different activities. Alexi's math is done. I'm only gonna do 1 week just to show you how it's done, but usually you would go through and do all of your next weeks. So I would just keep going, and so whatever, she ended on page 26. Next week I would do page 27 to whatever and just keep going. But because I don't have an hour to do a video for you, that's what I would do. So I did Alexi's math. Then I'm going to do Alexi's language. Alexis is just finishing up this one. This is her grammar. It's called daily language skills, but it's kind of grammar, so I just put a G. Just makes my life easy. So she's doing page 81. So then next one would be G, page 82. G, page 83. This one I like because it's short lessons, but I do find I like to get through, because we don't do it every day, I like to do kind of the full page with her. Yeah, so that's her grammar, and then her phonics, this is brand new. So she's gonna be starting right on page 5. And then phonics, page 5, like she'll zip through this. 5, 6, 7, let's do 8, 9, we'll ease in this week. And then we'll do 10, 11. Okay, so that's what Alexi's doing. Boom, done Alexi for the week. And like I said, I would just keep going. If I was doing a normal month, I would do the whole month, like Alexi's whole language, her whole math, her whole everything. But I'm trying to make our lives a little easy today, just for the video. Finish adding my titles here so you can see them. They were in pencil before, but. So then I'm going to do the exact same thing with Zoe. Literally just finding the page that we're starting on. So she's doing, for math, she's doing page 15, 16, 17. Sometimes the activities are short, so we end up doing a couple pages. Sometimes they're a little bit longer. Zoe is only doing, she's doing this Canadian daily printing practice as her like letter work. So she's going to be doing pages 4 and 5. She only has one at a time, so page 6, 7, 8, and 9. Perfect. That's Zoe. The next one that I'm going to do is I'm going to do our unit study. So I just have, like I said, I found this free. I'll put a link to this down below. This was the unit study that we're doing. And so I just printed it off. I have it in my book. And I'm just going to add in, we only do unit study like pages once or twice a week. And usually they are going to be on Mondays and Wednesdays. So Tuesday, we don't do unit study. Wednesday, we're going to do pages 1 to 5. And then, like I said, we don't do an activity. We do them on Mondays and Wednesdays. So we're not doing anything else for the rest of the week. The next week, actually, we don't have anything on Monday either because it's a Science North Day. So we just keep going. And we're going to do page 6, 7. Thirteen, 14, 15. And then the rest. So I put in my unit studies for the month, and then I can also add in on Friday, we do kind of more of a hands-on activity. So the first one I had, we're gonna do the clay. Clay sarcophagus. Okay, so that's our unit study. Those are the activities we're doing for the week. It works out. And then art and music. This is kind of like a joint art and music activity. And they're gonna do their piano lesson here. So that is kind of like what I finished putting in here. That is kind of like my rough weekly plan. Like I said, I would do the whole month all at once. The next thing that I do, I grab my computer and I head over to my public library website and I will order a whole bunch of books that are on our topic. So I find this is just the easiest way to get the books because I can kind of just like keyword search. So I just would keyword search like Egypt at the top, Egypt and the Egyptians or whatever it comes up with. keyword search, and then I just go over to the side and I just like to click the audience and pick out children's, and then it'll show me a whole bunch of books that are on that topic. I'll just go through and click the ones that I think are interesting. Sometimes I have like books in mind and I'll try to pull those. This unit study came with a whole list of books at the back. So I'm going to try to see if I can find some of those on my list. I might search specifically for those, but otherwise, just pull a bunch of books on the topic, everything that's fiction, nonfiction, stories, and I'll also go through my collection and pull anything that I have that's Egyptian or on topic, and I'll pull those, put them in a basket, and that's kind of our like reading. So when it comes to our reading time in the morning, when we're done, we do our reading, math, and language kind of all as one. And so I'll just go and pull, that's the book that we pull from, is we pull one of those. And then this is either in our morning basket or it's something we read right before bed. So we end up doing a lot of reading, but it's nice because then we don't have to think, oh, what are we reading tonight? We already know, because it's all together when it's time to like pick something to read or it's time to read a book at bed. There's no like, oh, I want to read this or I want to read that. It's like, hey, what's in the basket? And we pull something from there. And then if we want to do any other reading during the day, they can pick whatever they want. But it's kind of a nice way to kind of integrate the topic into like other aspects of our day. So I like that. And then the last thing I like to do, like I said, I'm going to go through any of my hands-on activities and I'm going to see if there's anything I need. So for example, I use Pinterest a lot when it comes to finding hands-on activities and books and things. I always have like a Pinterest page board for whatever I'm doing. So like I said, I have the air clay, everything I need for the air clay. I have stuff for my mummifying. I needed to see what paper I needed. Picked up all my stuff the other day, so that works out. I used a brown paper bag. I'll get some paper bags, I guess. Oh, and I need cheesecloth. That's another thing I need. Alright, so I need brown paper bags, I need cheesecloth, I need old Barbie. We don't have a lot of Barbies and they're in really good shape, so I'm hoping to find like a really ugly, banged up one that someone will either give me for free or I'll pick one up at like the dollar store or maybe in like the thrift store. Something that's just like, because we're gonna like destroy it by the time we're done, but it'll be mummified, which will be fun. I have paint, I have everything else. So the nice thing about this is I have the list, and so if I have to go out and shop and pick anything up, I just take it with me. Sometimes I don't have a lot of things, sometimes I do have a lot of things depending on what the activity is. And so what I'll do is I will get a basket and I will go around and gather all of the supplies that I need. So I will go and gather like the cornstarch, the glue, the vinegar, the lotion that I need to make the clay. I'll gather some paints. I'll gather, oh, I need gold paint. That's one thing I need. And I'll put everything in a basket and I put that in our homeschool room. So when we're doing an activity, I don't need to like run around the house on that day and figure out if I have things, am I missing stuff? I've already done it and I've actually had like a week ahead of time that I've given myself a whole week to finish prepping and getting everything set up. So I find that is really helpful. And then like I said, when we sit down, if I need to, for doing an activity, I have all the ingredients, all the supplies in one basket. It's just to take what I need and get started. And that makes life a whole lot easier. That is basically it. So a month of planning takes me about an hour. By the time I do all of the gathering, the list making, all the lesson plans, takes me about an hour, but then I'm pretty much set for the whole month. And that kind of works out really nice for me in that I have everything, I'm ready to go. And I always like to do it, like I said, about a week before the month ends. So around the 23rd is usually whatever that weekend is, because that's usually the best time to do planning. That's when I'll start doing my planning. So it gives me A, time to pick up supplies, B, when I do my book order for my library books, sometimes it takes a couple days for them to come in from the different branches in our area, so it gives me time to get those all in and then only have to go pick them up once or twice instead of going like every single day to pick up like 2 books here, 3 books there. I just give them about 4 or 5 days from when I order and then they're usually all in. And then I'm ready. So as I'm wrapping up what my last unit is, I'm also like mentally preparing to move into the next unit. And so I find that works really well for us. So that's how I do my monthly planning. If you guys have any tips or tricks or ideas on how you like to do yours and that you want to share, please leave a comment below. And if you want to make sure that you subscribe so you can see more videos like this and get notifications, click the bell. If you want to see how all this turns into like actual everyday homeschooling, you'll definitely want to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all next week. Bye.